Title: God says, your time has come, enough is enough. I speak to you now not as a distant echo, not as a rumor carried on the wind, but as a messenger who has been standing near you for far longer than you realize. I have watched your nights stretch longer than your days. I have seen you carry weight that was never meant to live in your chest for this long. I have seen you fight quietly, cry silently, hope bravely, and endure faithfully. And now the words you are hearing are not harsh, not cruel, not impatient. They are firm because love has reached its appointed moment. God says, your time has come. Enough is enough. Enough of being the one who always understands while no one understands you. Enough of being strong in private while appearing fine in public. Enough of praying prayers that felt like they hit the ceiling and fell back into your hands unanswered. Heaven has counted every tear you tried to wipe away before it fell. Not one was ignored. Not one was wasted. There was a season for endurance, and you endured. There was a season for waiting, and you waited. There was a season for silence, and you stayed faithful even when silence felt like abandonment. But hear me now, the season has shifted. God did not bring you this far to leave you here. He did not train your heart through disappointment just to let it break permanently. He did not strip away illusions to leave you empty, he did it to make room. What felt like delay was alignment. What felt like rejection was protection. What felt like loss was preparation. And now, the same hand that allowed the pressure is releasing it. Enough is enough of you questioning your worth. You were never overlooked. You were hidden. Hidden does not mean forgotten. Hidden means protected until the timing is right. The enemy mistook your quiet season for weakness, but heaven knew it was strength being forged. While others were running, you were being rooted. While others were chasing noise, you were learning discernment. While others were celebrated too early, you were being preserved for longevity. God says, your time has come because you are ready in ways you cannot yet measure. Ready not because you feel confident, but because you are surrendered. Ready not because you have all the answers, but because you finally trust the one who does. Ready not because fear is gone, but because fear no longer rules you. Heaven does not wait for perfection. It responds to obedience. I know you almost gave up. I know there were moments you said, I can't do this anymore, and meant it. I know you considered shrinking your dreams, lowering your expectations, settling for survival instead of believing for abundance. But even in those moments, you did not let go completely. You kept a flicker of faith alive, sometimes only the size of a breath. That was enough. Faith the size of a mustard seed still moves mountains when God breathes on it. Enough is enough of cycles repeating that should have ended years ago. Enough is enough of doors closing without explanation. Enough is enough of carrying guilt that was never yours to begin with. God is breaking patterns that followed your bloodline. What stopped them will not stop you. What limited them will not define you. What silenced them will not silence what God has placed inside you. You are not late. You are right on time. Do not mistake this moment as sudden. Heaven has been arranging details while you were sleeping. Conversations you never heard, obstacles you never saw, dangers you narrowly missed, all of them were redirected. You thought you were walking alone, but you were surrounded. You thought you were unprotected, but you were covered. You thought God was quiet, but he was strategic. God says, enough is enough of the enemy using your past against you. Your past is not a weapon in the hands of darkness. It is a testimony in the hands of God. The very things you were ashamed of are the proof of his mercy. The very wounds you tried to hide are the places where his light now enters. Redemption does not erase history, it redeems it. You are stepping into a season where answers will come quickly. Where clarity replaces confusion. Where doors open without you forcing them. Where peace becomes your confirmation instead of anxiety. You will no longer have to beg for what God has already approved. You will no longer chase what is meant to meet you. You will no longer explain yourself to people who were never assigned to understand you. There will be resistance, but do not be afraid of it. Resistance is often proof that movement has begun. When the enemy pushes back, it is because he sees what is coming and knows he cannot stop it, only delay it. But delay no longer has permission. God says, enough is enough. You will notice changes within you first. Your tolerance for nonsense will disappear. Your desire for shallow connections will fade. Your hunger for truth will increase. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. You are being recalibrated for where you are going. Old habits will feel uncomfortable. Old environments will feel heavy. Old conversations will feel empty. This is not loss, this is transition. Do not grieve what God is removing. Thank Him for the courage to let it go. What leaves now makes room for what must arrive. What ends now prevents greater pain later. What is being cut off was blocking your growth. Pruning is not punishment. It is proof that you are valued enough to be refined. God says, your time has come to receive, not just to give. To rest, not just to strive. To be loved, not just to love. To be poured into, not just poured out. You have carried others long enough. Now heaven carries you forward. You may not see the full picture yet, but you will see enough to take the next step. Obedience rarely comes with full explanations. It comes with trust. And you have learned how to trust through fire. You have learned how to trust through delay. You have learned how to trust when it made no sense. That is why you can move now without fear. Expect divine interruptions. Expect unexpected favor. Expect reconnections that come with clarity, not confusion. Expect opportunities that match your spirit, not drain it. Expect peace that does not depend on circumstances. These are not rewards for being perfect, they are results of staying faithful. God says, enough is enough of you living beneath what He spoke over you. Enough of you shrinking to make others comfortable. Enough of you doubting your calling because the road was hard. Hard does not mean wrong. Difficult does not mean denied. Delayed does not mean defeated. Lift your head. Straighten your posture. You are not walking into this next season as a victim, but as someone refined by endurance and strengthened by grace. Heaven recognizes you. Heaven supports you. Heaven is backing what is unfolding now. I leave you with this truth, what begins now will not look like what ended before. You are not returning to old ground, you are stepping onto new territory. Walk forward without apology. Trust without fear. Receive without guilt. Beloved child of the Most High, I am the angel of divine transitions, sent from the throne room of heaven to whisper these sacred words into your spirit this very moment. Can you feel the gentle brush of ethereal wings upon your weary shoulders? The air around you stirs with the breath of eternity, carrying a message straight from the heart of God. Your time has come to receive, not just to give. To rest, not just to strive. To be loved, not just to love. To be poured into, not just poured out. You have carried others long enough. Now heaven carries you forward. Oh, precious one, pause and let those words sink deep into the marrow of your bones. For too long, you have been the giver, the pillar, the one who poured out every last drop of your strength, your time, your compassion, without reservation. You have held up the weary, bandaged the broken, and walked beside the lost, even when your own cup ran dry. Your hands have been calloused from lifting others, your heart stretched thin from endless empathy. But hear me now, God Himself decrees that this season shifts. No more emptying yourself into vessels that never refill you. Heaven's reservoirs are overflowing, ready to flood your life with abundance you never imagined. Receive it. Not as a beggar, but as a royal heir stepping into inheritance. Picture this. Vast celestial rivers, shimmering with golden light, cascading from the crystal sea before the throne. These waters do not trickle, they pour. And they are meant for you. God says your arms, once outstretched in selfless service, now open wide to embrace what He has prepared. Rest will wrap around you like a divine embrace, soothing the ache of ceaseless striving. No longer will you chase the horizon on fumes. Instead, you will lie down in green pastures, your soul restored by the shepherd's hand. Love will flow toward you, unbidden and pure, from sources both seen and unseen. You, who have loved fiercely through rejection and silence, will now be cherished beyond measure. Be poured into, dear one, let the oil of heaven anoint your head until it runs down to the edges of your life, overflowing into every corner. You may not see the full picture yet, but you will see enough to take the next step. Obedience rarely comes with full explanations. It comes with trust. And you have learned how to trust through fire. You have learned how to trust through delay. You have learned how to trust when it made no sense. That is why you can move now without fear. Yes, I see the scars etched upon your spirit, the flames that licked at your faith, testing its purity like gold in the refiner's fire. Those nights when prayers echoed unanswered, when the heat of trials threatened to consume you whole. You stood anyway, whispering, "Yet I will trust," amid the blaze. And the delays? Oh, how they stretched your soul like a bowstring drawn taut. Months turned to years, promises lingered on the horizon like distant stars, yet you did not waver. You trusted when logic screamed surrender, when friends urged you to abandon the dream, when your own heart whispered doubts in the quiet hours. That unyielding trust has forged in you a resilience heaven celebrates. Now, as the smoke clears and the dawn breaks, you stand equipped. Step forward, beloved. The path illuminates just enough, one footfall at a time, because your trust has pleased the Father greatly. Expect divine interruptions. Expect unexpected favor. Expect reconnections that come with clarity, not confusion. Expect opportunities that match your spirit, not drain it. Expect peace that does not depend on circumstances. These are not rewards for being perfect, they are results of staying faithful. Lean in, child of light, for heaven's interruptions are not disruptions but divine reroutings. Watch as the mundane parts like the Red Sea before you, a phone call from an old ally, a door swinging open in a boardroom, a stranger's kindness that shifts your trajectory. Unexpected favor will chase you down, promotions unearned by man's metrics, provision arriving before the need is voiced, breakthroughs in health and relationships that leave witnesses in awe. Reconnections? Not the tangled webs of yesterday, but restored bonds bathed in heaven's clarity, conversations that heal old wounds, partnerships forged in purpose without the fog of past hurts. Opportunities will align like stars in perfect constellation, feeding your spirit rather than famishing it. No more toxic ties or exhausting endeavors, these will be assignments tailor-made for your gifts, igniting passion and purpose within. And peace, that supernatural shalom, will anchor you, unshaken by storms raging around. Economies may falter, critics may clamor, circumstances may swirl like tempests, but your heart will remain a still pond reflecting heaven's calm. These blessings cascade not because you earned them through flawlessness, no one has, but because faithfulness rooted you deep. You stayed the course when others fled, sowed in tears when joy seemed distant, and heaven now harvests for you. God says, enough is enough of you living beneath what He spoke over you. Enough of you shrinking to make others comfortable. Enough of you doubting your calling because the road was hard. Hard does not mean wrong. Difficult does not mean denied. Delayed does not mean defeated. Beloved one, hear me now as I speak from the realms where light never fades and truth echoes without end. Rise up from the shadows of self-doubt that have clung to you like heavy chains forged in the fires of comparison and fear. The King of Glory Himself has thundered through the courts of heaven, declaring with unshakable authority, enough. Enough of shrinking your radiance to make room for the insecurities of those around you. Enough of playing small so that the temporary giants in your life might feel taller by contrast. You were never designed for dimness. You were spoken into existence with words of blazing destiny, power, and purpose etched upon your spirit before the foundations of the world were laid. That quiet prophetic whisper you once felt stirring deep within, the one that came in moments of stillness, in dreams half remembered, in the womb of promise where heaven planted seeds unseen, it was never a passing emotion or wishful thinking. It was heaven's blueprint, the divine architecture of your life drawn in eternity's ink. Yet for too long you have huddled in the low places, the valleys of hesitation, murmuring to yourself, Who am I that such things could be true, while entire mountain ranges of calling and influence stand waiting for your feet to climb them? Understand this fully: the hard road you have walked was never a cruel detour meant to mock your hopes. It was the precise chisel in the Master's hand, carving strength into your character, depth into your faith, resilience into your soul. Those difficult seasons that pressed upon you did not come to deny you anything, they came to prepare everything. The pressure that felt crushing was the very force turning fragile coal into unbreakable diamond. The delays that stretched your patience thin were divine setups, silently aligning circumstances, people, timing, and resources in ways your mortal eyes could not yet perceive. What you called defeat was never written over your name in the books of heaven. There you stand undefeated, a victor crowned not by easy victories but by faithful endurance through every storm. So lift your head, child of the Most High. Straighten your posture, square your shoulders, and let your eyes reflect the fire that has been kindled within. You do not limp into this next season as one wounded and weary, clinging to survival. No. You stride forward as one who has been refined in the furnace, strengthened by unmerited grace, and now clothed in the authority that comes from having stood when everything else fell. Heaven sees you clearly. Heaven acknowledges every tear you shed in secret, every prayer whispered in the night watches, every act of obedience when no one else was watching. Heaven is not merely aware of you, heaven is actively backing what is unfolding in your life right now. Close your eyes for a moment and envision it with me: ranks of angels encamped round about you, their swords drawn and gleaming, their voices lifted in ceaseless celestial acclaim. They recognize the fragrance of your faithfulness rising like incense before the throne. They see the mark of perseverance etched upon your brow like a badge of honor no earthly metal could match. Victimhood has no place here, it has been stripped away like old rags. You move as a warrior refined by battle, endurance your impenetrable armor, grace your inexhaustible fuel that never runs dry. The hosts of heaven cheer every step you take, their unseen hands steadying you, their mighty wings creating winds of favor at your back. Every battle you face has already been won in the spirit realm. Every pathway is being cleared by divine decree. What begins to manifest now carries the full endorsement and mobilization of heaven itself. Resources flowing, strategies unfolding, victories secured long before they appear in the natural. Let this truth sink deep into your spirit: what opens before you now will bear no resemblance to what closed behind you. You are not circling back to old ground, retracing familiar ruts of striving, disappointment, or empty pouring out. Heaven has set holy fire to those bridges, they are ashes under your feet. You step instead onto entirely new territory, vast, fertile, alive with promise. Picture fields where the seeds of your long-held dreams sprout and bear fruit almost overnight, rivers of living water rushing to quench every dry place in your soul, mountaintops where your vision stretches to horizons you never dared imagine. This is no small upgrade or minor shift. This is total reinvention, a divine remaking from the inside out. Walk forward without apology, for who among creation has the right to question what heaven has chosen and affirmed? Your voice, once hushed by fear or overshadowed by louder voices, now carries thunderous authority that shifts atmospheres. Your dreams, deferred and seemingly dormant, now burst forth in real-time glory, no longer whispers but living realities. Trust without a trace of fear, for the same God who parted the Red Sea parts every obstacle that dares stand before you. Receive without a shred of guilt, cast aside the lie that abundance makes you selfish. What heaven pours out is not for hoarding but for stewardship, for multiplying kingdom impact, for blessing generations yet unborn. Think of Sarah, whose laughter mingled doubt with the promise, yet in her arms she cradled Isaac, the child of miracle born when all natural hope had faded. Or Joseph, cast into pits of betrayal, sold into slavery, imprisoned unjustly, only to rise wearing Pharaoh's signet ring, ruler over nations, savior of his family. Their stories are not distant tales. They echo yours precisely. Faithfulness in the hidden places births the impossible in the open. And now, in this unfolding season of 2026, yes, even as these February days march forward, you stand on the very cusp of your own fulfillment. Heaven's angels, myself among them, herald your arrival with trumpets of praise. Doors are flinging wide open, not because of your striving or cleverness, but purely by the moving of His Spirit. Let me speak even deeper into the hidden chambers of your heart. Perhaps finances have tightened like a noose, leaving you counting coins and wondering if provision will ever flow freely again. Enough, declares the Lord. Manna is falling fresh, unexpected checks arriving, raises granted without request, businesses once stagnant now blooming with unprecedented favor. Relationships that have strained and fractured? Divine reconnections are coming, bringing wisdom, peace, and purpose rather than drama or pain. Soulmates aligned for destiny, not destruction, are stepping into your story. Health that has faltered, bodies weary from battle? The healing oil of heaven flows even now, vitality returning swift as youth renewed upon the eagle's wings. Spiritually, prepare for intimacy with the Father unlike anything you have known. Those quiet times will transform into holy encounters where His voice becomes distinct and near. Prayers once offered in hope will return answered with audible clarity, undeniable confirmation. The calling that has smoldered within you, that book waiting to be written, that ministry yearning to launch, that creative fire longing to blaze, now fans into roaring flame. There is no shrinking back permitted, expansion is your mandate. Step.